All right, this is a public meeting for the Parks and Rec meeting. As we have been taking public comment, we've been taking public comment one of four ways at our virtual meetings for over the last year now. The public comment can be made by dropping public comment off at the blue drop box outside the township building, right in front of the library. We check that before the meeting. In addition, you can raise your hand during the Zoom meeting or any time in which the chairman recognizes public comment. And if you do raise your hand virtually, we will recognize you. And we just ask that you state your name and address for the record. If you've called in by phone, you also have that option on the phone, is to be able to raise your hand. If by chance you have trouble raising your hand or are unable to talk for any reason, or you just want to make your public comment by putting it in writing, you can do so by sending your public comment to publiccomment@newtowntownship.org, publiccomment@newtowntownship.org, and public comment is all one word, as well as Newtown Township is all one word. If by chance, when you're sending that in, please make sure that you include a phone number. If you've called in and you're having trouble getting recognized, so that we know which phone number to look at, or if you're just making public comment, please make sure that you include your name as well as your address for the record. Wade, I'll turn it back over to you as the chair.
Okay, so old business, Greer Park update. The plan is about 90% complete, or actually more than 90% complete. She stopped working on it right now. She's working on the grant application, but she'll be through those shortly and back to working on the master plan. We believe it should be published sometime in June if everything goes correctly. It's really coming along well. Right now, we're applying for 3 grants totaling about $840,000. One of those has already been applied for. The other one will be applied for in about 2 weeks. We're collecting commitments for donations from small businesses for that one, because it helps to have commitment from the community and so those commitments will go in with the application itself. And there's been some businesses have stepped forward to provide some commitment, so it's going pretty well. Does anyone have any questions on Greer? And then the bocce ball court, George was able to get the fence installed for the bocce and horseshoe pit area, so that the soccer teams, when they came to practice there, won't take that space up anymore. They'll know that that's not theirs. We've had EAC take a look at it for the drainage that's going to occur from the bocce courts itself. And Cindy Mahalo and myself are going to meet there Saturday and review what kind of plants and what it's going to take to put some kind of rain garden in there. It's not going to be any expensive or extensive. It's just going to hold the water that comes off of the courts during storm events.
George, do you is it going to be hard true? You mentioned at the last meeting that you were getting, I think you called it sand. And what's the surface of the bocce courts going to be?
Oh, Bill, I got to get back to you on that. We had started researching it and then we stopped. I want to get back over to Broomall's court and take a look at what they did. But no, I don't have the answer. I'll get that for the next.
Okay. Hard true. It's kind of like the stuff they use for clay courts for tennis. And that's usually very effective because it has a nice clean surface. Not really clean, it's like sand, but it provides drainage real well. So I believe most of the tennis clubs that are outside have that kind of surface, and you could look at some of that. I know Waynesboro has like maybe 6 or 7 courts like that. Waynesboro is on Route 252.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
George, I actually have all of the material listing. I'll send that to you. And there was a company in Delaware that I called. There's another one in New Jersey that supplies that kind of material. The one in Delaware seemed to be a cheaper price. So I'll send you that information.
Great. Thanks, Wade.
All right. And the paint scheme for the basketball court, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to see the concepts that the students are working on. But it's going to go pretty much where the existing paint lines are. I went over and measured it 2 days ago and sent that information to the teacher. So it's not going to extend the whole length of that surface, just going to be where the painted surface is. They've chosen that design. I asked them to try and stay close to 8 different colors because of the cost involved of doing customized colors. They're not sure that they're going to be able to do that. Some of it might be smaller amounts. So I guess we're going to have to discuss that with the paint rep when we talk with him, George.
Yeah. And I'd say let's put together what they're proposing and we'll price that out, because again, part of the cost was going to be how many coats of paint were going to be necessary. And again, the fewer colors, the better, but we want a good product. So let's see what they come up with and we'll see where the dollars land.
Wait, I like the one you sent with the hands and all that. That looks really great. But I still think that it would be a good idea to have the Newtown Township logo either in the center jump court circle or in one or both of the circles for the free throws. And, it's just that 8-sided schoolhouse. And so I know you thought it was pretty complex, but I actually don't think it's all that complex. We ought to maybe have the school teacher take a look at it and see. I think if we had it just in the center jump circle, that would be enough, but it'll be identified as the Newtown Township logo. And I know Steve wanted to have something that let the people who use it know where it came from.
I will ask her. It's kind of a, unless it's a large image of that schoolhouse, it's kind of hard to get that detail. The mortar in the stonework itself in the octagonal schoolhouse is difficult to do. That's what I was talking about. And so, smaller design of that would be even more difficult. It would add more colors as well. So I can ask her.
Maybe if we forgot about the brickwork and actually, or the stonework, and did it with flat surfaces, then it might just be a matter of white surface for each of the octagonal areas that show.
Okay, I will ask her, see what that would take to get that into it's a digital image that they've been working on for a while, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if it can't be done, it can't be done, but it'd be nice to have the township acknowledged there.
Yes.
If I could, George and I were talking today related to the basketball court, and one of the things that I've been noticing is that we've been having a fair number of young kids at the court. And when I say young kids, I'm talking like 3 to 6, 3 to 7. And because all of the rims are at standard height, particularly the real little guys are having a real hard time getting that, even their basketball anywhere close to that. So I talked to George about whether we could do one of the side rims as being an adjustable rim. And so he's going to look into that if this group agrees that that's something we ought to consider.
I think it's a great idea, Steve.
I
Great
was
idea.
out there, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and there was a mom out there, and I think her son, if he was 4, he was just 4. And I'm telling you, this little kid was dribbling like crazy, but when he shot, he couldn't throw it up high enough to even just hit the net. So I thought wouldn't it be cool if he had the opportunity to be able to put it at least on the backboard?
Yes.
And we would want to get a really good one so that, it doesn't get damaged by others being out there. But that's one of the things that we're talking about trying to do.
Wow. Nice. Very nice.
You can put that along the side, in the practice facilities they have for basketball, they put a couple of those along the side of the regular court. In other words, it goes in the cross direction.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
I have to tell you that if there is anything that's used in this township, I think almost daily, it is that court. There was somebody out there tonight playing when I came back for the meeting. So, and there were probably 20 kids out there earlier today. So it's a highly used area.
Good. So yeah, and anyway, so I'm sorry. The second week in May is when we're targeting to paint this, so it's coming up quick. They're
know how long that's going to take.
She seems to think it's going to take 2 days.
Okay.
We'd like to reserve 3 just in case, and then George needs prep time before that as well.
Yeah,
I know we don't want to shut that down.
So Wade, we should get the Zoom meeting with the teacher as soon as we can, so that I could have Bill from the basketball painting and lining company on the phone with her and you and I to make sure that we're all on the same page.
I will send something out to try and set that up for like 11 o'clock next Wednesday. Is that good for you? 10, 11?
Wednesdays at 11. That should be.
Okay. All right. I know that's good for her. That's why I just wanted to get that through now. So anyway, the mural at Drexel Lodge is going to go in the bathroom. I haven't heard from the teacher in a while, so that we're not sure how to do this. We're going to use a projector, I believe. I have access to an old-time overhead vellum overhead projector that you would use in the conference room at work that will shine onto the wall and then have to paint the individual faces onto the wall. So it's going to require a little bit of labor. I think I can line up the people to do that, but it's probably going to take a few days to do.
And Wade, we spoke with with Sherwin-Williams about the best way to handle that from a paint standpoint. They have some paint that they recommend, and they also said that we'll want to clear coat it over the top after we're done, just to give it more preservation. So I think we'll be okay on that. Again, once we have a sense of whatever colors might be necessary.
Okay, and is that an issue with the cost of customizing that paint?
No,
as well?
the paint, they had one paint that was very expensive, but they actually recommend a more basic paint with a clear coat over top, and they said that'll give you the same effect and it'll be a lot more affordable.
Great. Okay, thank you. So I'm not sure when that's going to occur, and I don't think the students are going to be able to be involved. Originally, we had planned for like placing using handprints in some kind of design, so the kids would be involved in their parents and families. But with COVID, it just didn't work out that way because of the planning. So I don't know where we're going to end up once the design is completed, but that should be in the next month or so.
Wade, you were going to mention about the food? necessary for the planting at for the basketball courts?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm sorry. So, and we also have, I don't know if anybody saw the drone. Someone did a drone video of the Meadow Preserve, which is beautiful. I've reached out to that person, and he's interested in doing a time-lapse drone video of the mural being painted that we could post online. And also a local magazine is going to come out and take some pictures of the students painting. And so I'm hoping to have food supplied to kids with food. It's like I said, it's going to be a 2-day event. So we would need a couple of restaurants to step up. I was going to contact Whole Foods. If anyone has any ideas, just if you know them now, just shout them out or send me something.
Well, the Upper Cut will do those sandwiches. That's right there in the strip mall along Route 3 in Newtown Square.
Upper
Is that what it's
Crust?
called, the Upper Cut or Upper
Upper
Crust?
Cut,
Or
it's the sub shop.
The cut above.
Cut above, yeah.
Cut above, that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
That
Bill, I
would
Very
think,
good food. It's
I
good
think
food.
he's looking for somebody that's going to be able to donate it.
Wade, let me know if you run into problems.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then the water bottle filling station, we're on hold for that until September. So the bat boxes have become quite the project. Sheila's husband was able to get some poles. I'm gonna get some hardware for them, and then we're gonna put them in a location. I'm hoping that it'll be okay. I'm gonna paint circles and send George a picture of it. But right now we've targeted right above the stream that comes in from Bryn Mawr Avenue up Brookside and goes into Fox's Run, that little area that's kind of a nature preserve. There's nothing there other than trees and grass where no one bothers it. It seems like a good location. Is that okay, George, that area? As long as I'll send you the pictures.
Yeah, it's a good area for it. I mean, it's an area we've striven to try to keep undeveloped, that we're not doing anything there. It's nice to have some parkland that is really just, kind of let it be. But if the bat boxes are, I mean, let me look at the locations of them, Wade, and I'll give you an official thumbs up on them.
All right.
And George, we're going to put them in with, they're galvanized steel. So they're going to be mounted in, the poles will be mounted in cement, they'll be secured. And then the boxes will be double mounted to each other. So we're going to try to, instead of we can't put them on the tree because the predators can get to the bats easier. So that's why we did all the research. We looked at 5 different, national wildlife, and every recommendation as to what's the best way to proceed with these. So we've got the best information to make those. So we do have 2 by 21 inch galvanized steel, and we're going to mount them back to back. So it's all good.
I have a question. Maybe wait until the foliage comes out and see where the most sunlight hits.
Yes, we need full sun, and we need to make sure that we have a good 20 feet distance for predators. And so we kind of built that into everything because we need full sun for sure.
Good idea, Peter. Thank you.
Sure.
And then the May concert. Now, we collected funds and have those funds available for Dukes of Destiny, a blues and R&B band out of media. But we had to cancel that concert last year. So I'm trying to coordinate with them for a June concert. Is that feasible to you, Steve? June? If we use,
I think we have 2 issues right now. George and I walked over at Drexel Lodge, and one of our big issues, maybe even bigger than COVID, will be, can we find an area that the geese haven't destroyed? There's a lot of geese droppings all over that area, and so it's going to be a little bit of an issue there. But if we can get in and clean that up, if we can do, we may have to limit the number of people, but we'll create maybe areas and just do like boxes of where 4 people could sit and create family boxes. George and his team, I'm going to offer, will get out there and help lay that out with somebody, maybe from here, and we'll get some paint and
Yes.
just lay out some squares that we could do there. And I think we could do it. I'd hate to keep putting it off, and I think people are just antsy to be outside. And so I'd like to, if we can do it outside, I think we can do it better. And hopefully, I keep hearing that by the middle of May or the end of May, we'll be opening up to get more people to get the vaccine. So hopefully that's true.
Okay.
Wade, do you have a target for June?
No, they haven't gotten back to me. I was going to call the guy that, next week and see, maybe July might be better. I'm not sure. Is June, July, is that okay with you guys? You'd rather July or?
I think if we keep it in June, the temperature's not quite so hot, but particularly if we do it towards the end, I think that's probably a good time to do it. And hopefully we'll have I think if we set it up to go and, if things change, I think the thing that we just don't know is they're saying there may be another wave of this COVID. And so we're watching that, but hopefully being outside, and if we set it up so people can really social distance, and we'll work on filling areas, we'll probably have need some people out there to guide people and say, no, you have to sit here and fill up an area, and then have people leave, kind of organized. I mean, there's ways to do it.
Okay. And everybody shows up for that volunteering, so we should be good. We'll be there. And then the disc golf will go along with that. And then yoga in the park, we're kind of on hold with that because of the owner of the.
We have, the dates are firm from April 21st to September 1st. And it's going to be every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30. We have the general overview flyer prepared, but we wanted the specific breakdown because each week is a different class. So I'm asking her for that. And so she was supposed to get that to me by Monday. But we do have the general flyer, which George has a copy because he was going to put it in Community Magazine. And we didn't really want to share that because we would rather break it down by each individual class. Because Steve, are we going to still work with Kathy to set up? Because last year she set up a Facebook event for me for each event.
Yeah. No, we will not be working with Kathy.
Okay. For that?
I'm going to need to figure out who that's going to be. Kathy has shared with us this week that she's taken another job. So,
okay.
So I am. We'll have to figure out who's going to handle that. But I will let you know.
Yeah, and Steve, if you're desperate, I can come in and set this up on your Facebook account. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
And but that's going to go for 20 weeks, guys, and that's awesome. And so that's wonderful news. And I think we're good on that. So that'll be shared. And believe me, we'll hit everything between Paul and Leonard and everyone. We'll hit the full community once that's a blast.
Right, and then the vine removal, we're kind of on hold for that right now. Both Sheila and I are tied up with some other stuff, so we'll get to that hopefully in the next month. So we had a creek cleanup on the 20th at Drexel Lodge Park by CRC. Hosted that. Mike McGraw, local biologist, was the site captain. And Kathy, the woman who's running for supervisor, showed up, and so did Mike Russo. Leonard Altieri and his wife showed up as well. And it was a pretty big turnout. And Mike said it's the biggest he's seen in a while. So it was pretty good. And then we have another creek cleanup for Brookside and Greer Park on April 10th. That's hosted by DCVA. And if anyone wants to show up for that, please come out.
And that's 9 to 11:30.
Yes, sorry. Yep.
And you have to wear your mask, and we're going to be social distancing and doing all of these particulars.
Gloves. that be provided, trash cans. And then, so the partnerships, I haven't done anything with that. But what I was thinking is, Drexel Lodge Park used to be part of Drexel University. I don't know. Have you ever thought of that, Steve? Has there ever been any connection with Drexel Lodge that you know of? Or?
I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't know with that one. I know that we actually purchased the land from them, but I don't know that we've ever had a relationship beyond that purchase.
And then park, so developing a park system. I took some pictures of Brookside. I don't know if anybody took a look at them.
Yeah, I looked at them.
Yeah, they were good, Wade.
Yeah, they turned out nicely.
Nice PowerPoint.
So I don't know if there's anything we can think of to improve there, or any issues. It is a little damper on, I guess it's the east side than it's been traditionally, and that's growing. But the soccer field is still pretty dry. So I think we're good there.
What
Yeah, but there
about
is an
connecting?
issue. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask, is there any consideration of connecting the trail from Greer Park to Brookside?
It's in our plan. It probably is going to get moved up. I suspect we put in for some grants to do a trail that actually went from the township building out to Drexel Lodge, from Drexel Lodge back across I think it's Golf, and then back down to the township building, and connect the township park here with the Drexel Lodge. We saw that as kind of a big win. I think we're not going to get the grant for that, because we couldn't provide some information they needed. So it may move this other connection up a little quicker than we had anticipated, trying to go ahead and get that connection, because that one may be a little bit easier to do. So.
Okay, thanks.
But it's definitely it's definitely one of the higher priority trails to get in, because once you get to the other side, you actually can connect into Radnor, and there's supposed to be a trail going out from Radnor. And there may be some dollars because of that, because it'd be a cross municipal trail that goes into multiple, municipalities. And so those trails, they're a lot easier to get funding.
Okay, thanks.
And Wade, regarding Brookside, I did see an issue right by Bryn Mawr Avenue and the culvert, where the sign for Bryn Mawr Avenue is coming into Brookside. Right there on the hill and the embankment, that area has been washed out by the last storm. It seems like all that soil is eroded, and you can actually see the base of Bryn Mawr Avenue. So, George, if you get a chance, I took some pictures. If you want me to send that to you, or if you're going to take a run out there.
I already sent them to George.
Oh,
I sent him pictures the other day. Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and thank you both for that. I am aware of that issue out there.
Okay, perfect. No worries.
I will say that, as we think about what we're doing at some of these parks that like Brookside and Drexel Lodge, I want to think kind of broadly right now, and just think about, like we're doing the master plan for Greer. I eventually would like to see us do a master plan for all of our parks. We kind of, when we get done to Greer, we're going to hold up a little bit before we jump into our next master plan, because I would like to really get one of the projects off the ground, and Greer Park is the one we're aiming at. And so we want to get that in going. And so once we get that one going, as we start winding down a little bit on that one, then we'll head off and do our next master plan. But we really have two parks that we're ready to keep working on, which is obviously the Meadow Preserve and Greer Park. And but as we think about what we're doing at Brookside, or what we want to do at Drexel Lodge, just be thinking about like what we do. We want to make sure that we're okay if it gets adjusted going into the future.
Okay. So one of the things I was thinking is that the playground, that playground gets a lot of use, a ton of use. I mean, every time I go past it, there's multiple families in there.
Yep.
But that open grass area, that doesn't get a lot of use. I don't know how we can get kids to use that area. I mean, if we could put up a sign that suggests games, or if we put up a plywood sheet that's painted and has wildlife that they could identify, or I don't know, weather station, or put
Are we
some
talking
color.
about across the street, Wade? Or
Yeah, right actually in the playground area. There's some
okay.
playground equipment, and then there's an open area. It's in there. So if you're a parent, your kids are in there playing anyway, but there's not a lot of kids down that end playing in the open grass, which, would be good for them. I don't know what we could do, but if we could encourage them to play some kind of game down there, I don't.
Wait, I found something for that. Basically, what we would need to do is very simple. We would take a large square, right? And we would do, those stepping stones, and place them intermittently, and basically set up a grass chessboard. And then for about $800, we can get massive, large structured chess pieces. So it would be like a chess game that people would be able to play, and our only thoughts are security about it. So if somebody's going to steal those pieces, obviously I would like a park that we could maybe, if that location didn't work, right on Brookside, where we'd have right by the sign where that area is next to the homeowner, maybe if that homeowner would want to kind of help us keep it safe and secure. But there are really inexpensive ways to provide a great opportunity and engage the public in a simple space. And it's not expensive.
Yeah,
I would mention this. I mean, I think that's a great idea. One of the things we're looking at Drexel Lodge, and we could look at Brookside, is because of Drexel Lodge with the restrooms, we want to put them on the same kind of timer system that we have here at Gable Park, next to the township building. And so I've been meeting with the folks that are going to help us do that. And we're talking about bringing Wi-Fi to that area so that we'll be able to have that connection that we need, which would allow us to put in cameras. And then when we're allowed to put in cameras, the other benefit would be that if we brought in Wi-Fi, we would actually have a hotspot available in our parks for the public to use for different things. And so just know we're working on some of those things in the background. I'm not ready to take it live yet, but hopefully in the next couple months, we'll be ready to have a full conversation with you about some of those things and what it would look like, what the cost would be, and what the benefits would be.
Oh,
Is there enough room in the open flat area to put in a half basketball court, or a 1/3 basketball court with the lower baskets for the younger kids?
That's a great idea, because that's one of the other things that George and I talked about today.
Yeah, but you could sell basketball anywhere in this town. Any kind of basketball. But I kind of like the open space of the kids don't get in the grass enough, like we did playing kick the can. I don't know. Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
So I have a comment about the color of the slide, if you please. In Brookside Park, if you don't know Newtown Square, and if you're just driving up and down Bryn Mawr Avenue and you really don't live here, and you see the slide, which is sort of a faded red, I think it's very, for me, it's problematic. And we don't strut our stuff. We don't show that we're a modern, and I'm not suggesting that we buy a new slide. I understand that there's a way to paint that slide a dark green. And I think a dark green would be ever so more attractive, and it would sort of beckon to people who are driving by saying, hey, this is kind of a cool park.
So I think we did look at that, George, last year about replacing it, which was expensive. And then we took a look there weren't very many viable products that I found that I did research on. Did you do research, George, on that?
I did, and the products for painting it, I don't know that they showed that they were durable enough. But if the committee wants, we can certainly reinvestigate it. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
How expensive was the slide?
It was pretty significant. I was surprised.
It was, yeah, it
4,000.
yeah. I mean, it really sticks out in my mind as being. It may have been 4,000 for that slide, and I can't remember if there's a second smaller slide, but it may have been 2 pieces for 4,000. But it was it was not cheap.
Yeah, playground equipment is very expensive.
What about Sherwin-Williams? As long as you're talking to them about asking them, do they have a product?
So I will ask them, and I mean, I think before we were dealing with a couple park companies, but I will ask Sherwin-Williams, and when I talk to the basketball court person again, I'll ask if he's aware of anything that maybe is different than the avenues we were looking before.
Okay, I thank you.
Yeah, so that was another issue I had with that area is there's not a lot of color there. I don't know if we could put like a cardboard cutouts painted brightly that says welcome on the gates out front, or if we painted the top of the post and rail posts with primary colors, or put the alphabet letters on them. I don't know. We could put color in there and use that. If the kids use that open space somehow, just encourage them to use it. I don't know if anybody try and think about it over the next month if you think of anything.
Wade, maybe like an obstacle course kind of thing for the kids. You can do it with minimal objects to put into the ground that kind of encourages them to kind of run and race through. I have a picture. I can send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, and that's another. We don't want to create impervious ground surfaces either. So that would fit.
If you're trying to get a quick dose of color there, why don't you try, if we can, because of the sun there, maybe two type of umbrellas or something, because with the table there, we could stick an umbrella in there, it gets you color, but also give some sun protection, because they're awfully hot. There's nothing, the tree that's to the one bench is helpful, but there's really no sun protection in there. And if not, we could look to those, those sails that you could hoist them up on a galvanized pole and then provide like the sail coverage coming off the top and create like kind of like a circus look to it. And they're really inexpensive. All you would need is the pole, and those sheets are only about $150 a piece.
All right.
And another idea might be, I have the feeling that the students at Marple Newtown, once they get starting with the art projects in the bathroom at Drexel and the basketball courts, they might ask you, Wade, so what else can we do? We really enjoy this. And maybe you just say, look at this area and come up with 5 suggestions. And then you bring those suggestions to us. And they might think of something that we're not even thinking of.
They do have quicker brains than us.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then the survey results, I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at those survey results from the Meadow Preserve. They're pretty interesting. The only thing stood out to me was that people really want walking trails in this town. I don't know why, but it's a popular item everywhere I look. And so then we also have butterfly gardens at the Meadow Preserve. Some people have reached out. They want to help with a Meadow Preserve, either financially or volunteering work. And there's some people with very good knowledge there as well. Understanding that it would have to fit within the master plan guidelines. I don't know if that's something we want to start pursuing, Steve, or
we can at least start having the conversation. I I think we're going to, I'd like to go back and look at the master plan again before I would say, yeah, let's go put it here, but we can have that conversation.
Okay. And then what is the status of the Listener Trail?
So it is where we are now. I think we're almost done the paperwork side of it. George and I walked it. What was it? Last week or the week before, George?
Yeah, last Thursday.
Yeah. And there were several places that are cracking pretty bad already. And there are a couple places that we feel like they need to fix or put down like a sealer just to make sure that the cracks don't continue to grow. And so I talked to Toll Brothers on Wednesday of this week, and they're prepared to do that. And I told them that George would get out, and I think George is going to get paint and mark those spots, I think is what we talked about. And so I'm going to have George get out and do that. And they'll meet us out there and kind of go through what that looks like and what our expectations are. And they seem to be ready to fix that. And as soon as they get those fixed, then we can actually move forward with the signing and the dedication.
And then would we assess where we're at and get like trash cans and dog waste stations and that kind of stuff, Steve?
Yeah, I think the thing that, the one thing that, we need to think about is where do we put those? And I think they need to be relatively near, and I'm going to call them intersections in the trail, so that, and I got to hope that people are willing to, if you know that there's a trash can coming up for your dog waste, that you're willing to carry it for a few 100 yards so that you can put it in the trash can. But, in order for our team to be able to efficiently do that, I don't want to really be putting the trucks on that trail. It's not built to really take our trucks. So it would be one of those things we would probably want to put those near like the entrances or, wherever there's those crossroads that we can just pull up and go, all right, we can walk 20 feet each way and pick up stuff and that kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
There is going to be some question too about where we put those and how they work, but I know Listener HOA is very interested in working with us, even if it ends up being on their land.
Did we get any clarification about access other than using Goshen Trail access and walking up? Any further improvement in terms of people being able to get back there is what I usually hear most from residents.
We're working on that. I don't have an answer yet, but we are working on it.
Thank you. That's what I know a lot of people would love to have clarity on.
Yeah, the board has directed us to look at some options there, and we are looking at some options. One of the challenges, just to be perfectly honest, is some of the land is under a conservation easement, and so we just need to see what our options are.
I'm sorry. One of the things I wanted to bring up, Steve, was the dumping that occurs on Bryn Mawr Avenue there at Brookside sometimes. I know it's sporadic, but it still occurs.
Yeah.
So during the DCVA meeting last month, they brought up the fact that there's someone over in the Justice Department, if you will, in Media Courthouse that will provide cameras to townships if you're having trouble with that. And so if you see something dumped, you go back to your camera, look over the past 24, 48 hours, find out if you can get a license plate number, they will pursue them.
Okay.
And the cameras are free. So I don't know if you want me to try and check that out further and get back to you.
Wade, that's the Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful campaign. I have the information on that. I spoke with them. Remember, I spoke with you guys 2 months ago about that, but I'll send you the link again.
Okay.
And they provide you the computer with the Wi-Fi access for the computer. So it's basically like a Ring device, and it's everything is free for the township.
Okay. I would suggest, I think that's a great idea. I think we'd want to work through Public Works and through our police department, just since it's going to be the Justice Department as part of that.
And you do have to apply for the official grant and so everything would go through the township.
All right, can you send it to George then, Sheila?
Yes, will do.
All right, and I guess that's all I have. Does anyone have anything?
Yes, I do. So we've already talked about the basketball court, but Wade, I know you and Bruce have been talking about this concept of having potentially, I'm going to call it a committee of committees, for just a lack of a better term, but having some of our different committees meet and together, just so there's a nice crossover of what's going on and knowing what's going on. And so I've approached the board about that, and they're interested in that as well. And so we're going to be looking at putting that together and probably looking at doing it. I'm thinking we would start with once a quarter. If we need to do it more often, we'll do it more often. But just having an opportunity, and we're going to bring in pretty much all the committees of the township and some of the not-for-profits, just so that we can, and when I say that, I'm meaning like bringing in the Historic Society, bringing in Newtown Square and Bloom, and bringing in the Business Association. And so there's a variety of folks that we could bring in addition to our committees. And so it'll probably be a meeting that may start out just being township committees, talking about township side, and then opening it up that we bring everybody in, like a half an hour later and make it broader. So I'm working on a little bit more detail with that, but no, that's coming as a group, and we'll be looking for, one representative, maybe two from each of those areas to come in and start doing that. Obviously right now, I think it'll be by Zoom, the first couple of these, but I'd love to have that in person and start really getting an opportunity for us to get a feel of what everybody's doing and keeping everybody informed so that we're all working through the same direction. The other piece of that, I'm working with the EAC, and they've been interested in looking at some sustainability ideas. And so we're looking at a program through Pennsylvania called Sustainable PA. And they have a really complete list. I think it's like 130 different things that you can look at as ways of creating sustainability. And there are quite a few of those that would involve Parks and Recreation. And so over the next month, I'm going to be sharing the document first with the EAC on Monday. And hopefully the board will give approval at the April 12th meeting, and then we'll be rolling it out to all the different committees. And so that's probably going to be coming your way even before your next meeting. We'll be sending that out to the committee as a whole, just so that you can start seeing some of the things. I went through the last couple days working through all of those, thinking about who would be the best, what would be the best department in the township to be looking at each item, who would probably be the best committee in the township, and then also who would be the head person, or in some cases multiple people to head up each area. And so putting a lot of this back on staff, but knowing that it's going to take a lot of volunteers from around the township to help pick up some of these pieces and help it go. So we'll be talking more about that, but I just wanted to kind of introduce it tonight. It's a really great program. If you want to see what it looks like, you can go to Sustainable PA online, and there's all kinds of information there about it. And it's actually started in the Pittsburgh area and is starting to expand across the way. I believe if I remember right, I think Radnor is involved in Springfield, I think is the other one. And I think one more here locally. So
Okay.
anyway, just know that we're moving in that direction. I think there's some excitement for it. I know from the once I know from sure from the EAC that they're in agreement, then we'll start moving, because they're the ones that kind of started this with Ready for 100. But this is a little bit broader. This really looks at all aspects of the township, and that's what I like about it. It makes us work a little harder than just going after just energy, but and green. But it makes us look at, just how we do business and all of those kind of things. So just wanted to bring those two things up that we're working on that will impact this group. But hopefully the way it will impact us, I know Sheila comes and attends these meetings, and Sheila, you're on EAC, right? Yeah. And so she's really with EAC, but we know there's more and more crossover, particularly like with the Shade Tree Commission and different things. And so who's doing what, and making sure that we're all working together. Paul's got his group with the Business Association, but also Newtown Square and Bloom. And, just let's start bringing all of these pieces, the Gather in the Circle group and everybody together on a regular basis, just saying, what is it that everybody's doing? And what are we trying to accomplish? And so making sure that we're working together and not going in two different directions, but, really making sure that we're providing the best with all the resources that we have. And Bruce and Wade were the ones that really brought that to the forefront, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, bring synergy to everyone, hopefully.
Yep, it's a great idea. And, I've been thinking something like that, but hadn't really put my arms around what that looked like. So I love the concept, and it's great to take it forward.
Is there anything specific that you would target, Steve, for sustainability efforts?
So this will look at really everything that we're doing. It will look at how we're handling finances. It will look at how we're handling not only what we do on township property, but what we recommend businesses and residents do within the township for energy. It looks at how we preserve green space, how we preserve historic sites. How do we take care of our parks, so that they're sustainable for the long term? And I think we're laying that groundwork already with what we're doing with the master plans, but it's taking it to just another level and making sure that we really are carrying that through in all areas. And it's really, as soon as I get done meeting with the EAC and get the board's approval, I'll get it out to everybody, and you can see just how much of it. When you start looking at it, you'll see there's a lot that involves our parks, our trails, those kind of things, how we handle stormwater, how we handle water itself, how we handle the sewer. It looks at absolutely almost everything we do. And that's what I liked about it. It was really broad. And when you take all those broad areas and you really start working at them, this isn't something that we'll accomplish in 1 year. This is something that's going to take us, quite a few years to accomplish. But if we start down that road, there's a direction that we can head and really start putting things together. And what I like about it is it's not only do we accomplish it, but can we continue to? It's like a continuation. Is it ongoing? It's not a one-time thing and say you're there, but you have to prove that you're doing it over and over again.
Sounds great. So does anyone else have anything?
Wade said, no, thanks for, great meeting. it really provided a comprehensive update. So thanks to you and the whole team here.
Thanks, Ed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So I guess we can go.
Sounds good.
Hey,
Everybody have a good holiday weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
you too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Wait.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thanks, Ed. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Everyone take
Bye.
care.
Bye now.
Thank you.